March is National Social Workers Month, and joining us now, two social workers, Chantel Truax and Kate Campbell-Tubbs, talking about work as elder advocates. The work that social workers do is just so important, isn't it?
It sure is. We're very lucky to be working at St. John's, working with seniors, which is both of our heartbeats. So we've both been social workers for quite a long time. I've been for about 15 years.
And I, too, for about 15 years.
What has that experience been like?
Working with our elders at St. John's Home is just the most amazing thing. I have learned more in my 5.5 years at St. John's Home from our elders than I ever could have in all my years of schooling. They're just amazing people that bring just amazing heart to everything that they do, and I'm grateful that I get to work with them.
I've always heard, and maybe it's a myth, that there's high turnover rates amongst social workers just because it is such a difficult job.
It sure can be. I think you're dealing a lot of times with limited resources. Just like, you know, in a lot of corporations today, there's a lot to be done with limited resources. And there's a lot of challenges that you face. But I think when you're working in this field with seniors, we do tend to, in working with seniors in long-term care and in independent housing, we get a chance to really have a long-term relationship with them, which keeps it, you know, really important and vital, and helps us to stay, I think, you know, doing this longer. So
Kate, why don't you talk about the services that you do provide?
So my job is at the nursing home itself at St. John's Home, and what we do is a lot of advocating for our elders who live with us. Sometimes what we're doing is people are rehabilitating from an acute illness, so we're helping them to return to the community and doing discharge planning and make sure they have all the services they need. Sometimes it's people who are living at our home, and it's about helping them embrace living and, you know, just living their lives the way that they would in their community, just in our setting, and helping them have choices and helping keep them active.
And Chantel, I'm guessing some of it too is just making that human connection, because in some cases you might be one of the only people they see that day.
It's true, and in independent housing, which is where I work, we have just shy of 600 seniors, and they're living in apartments and townhomes, bungalows, and some of them are still in their own homes in a cottage, or, you know, in a bungalow. They're in an isolated setting. So, you know, just knowing that they can reach out to someone, knowing that I'm there when a crisis might come or a medical event, even for their families, you know, it's definitely why my role is really vital. So.
Absolutely. So if someone, let's say, Kate, has a relative out of state, and they know that they might need a service like this, what do you recommend? How should they go about looking into this?
Well, we are so blessed in Rochester with the community resources that we have for older adults. If people are really interested in a higher level of care, they can always come to St. John's and go for a tour. I always recommend tour every place. Trust your gut. You know your family member. But you can also call many community resources out there, and that can help you here in Rochester if you're living out of state move through the system, because it definitely takes a social worker to help you move through the system that is just so broad in resources.
And Chantel, if we could just go off topic a little bit, I know a lot of people in the past have expressed interest in how do you go about figuring out whether your parent is perhaps ready to move into a place like St. John's, and how do you approach that?
Well, obviously, it's a discussion you need to have together as a whole family system. You know, what is the burden that's happening with the whole family unit together?
That's a great point.
And it's important to just sit together and really weigh out all the options. There are so many options, like Kate said, but a lot of times I think people realize that just caring for the home is becoming too much of a burden for them. They may no longer be able to drive, you know, and they may need to start thinking about making choices to move into a senior residential area for all of those reasons. And I think they find too, when they come to our community, they all find there's a lot of socialization and you know, a lot of activities that they can invest their lives in, still being who they are.
Great.
So it's really important.
Chantel, Kate, thank you so much for joining us. It's a great conversation to have. We'll continue to have it in the next few minutes on Fox Rochester.